Hey everyone, it's me, Noah, long time no see. Today I'm going to talk about being sued, or being threatened with a lawsuit at least. I haven't actually been sued yet. Ethan Klein and Mutahar from Someordinarygamers have said that they plan on suing me for defamation. They're doing this in response to a video I posted in March called The YouTubers Who Backed a Genocide. I brought up these legal threats in another video of mine, but they decided to escalate things by paying a lawyer to write a cease and desist, which they sent to me in late March, and in it they ordered me to retract my video within 3 weeks or get my little ass sued. Ethan Klein went on to read the cease and desist on his live stream and repeat this threat over and over again on subsequent episodes.
He started his second video by saying, Ethan's threatened to sue me. It's not a threat. I'm going to sue you.
Oh.
Wait. I'm literally going to sue you for defamation.
Uh-oh.
Noah said in his second video, Ethan's threatening to sue me. Have fun with that, I guess. He said, well, I'm about to have fun with it. And unfortunately, I don't think you're going to be having much fun with it.
He didn't respond to my video by his own admission. He just read what his lawyer wrote for him and then said that his full response would happen in court.
I know he wants me to respond to every point in his video, which I will do in a much more formal setting.
Oh, what do you mean by that?
And I can't wait for you. You know, you can do your cute little videos and all that kinds of business on your YouTube channel. But when it comes to, you know, I'd love to see you reason out in a court document about how I and Mutahar support genocide. I really look forward to that.
Despite all of the threats from these guys, as I said at the outset, I haven't been sued yet. It's been over 3 weeks since the retraction deadline, and as you may see on my channel, the video is still up. Here's a clip of the last time Ethan even mentioned it, which was over 2 weeks ago.
Noah Sampson, he has missed his deadline. Actually, Mutahar is in the chat. What did he say? Did you see that Noah's apparently moving out? Yeah, he's sorry, no video, been moving, etc. Video coming soon. It's amazing how nobody wants to respond to me. Everybody goes cold feet. If you're going to level an attack against me, the least you could do is respond.
God, I love this, man. Why won't you play with me? Why does no one want to play with me? Come on. Ever since the retraction deadline passed, the ball has been in Ethan's court. Not responding to a cease and desist is a response on its own, right? According to these people, I'm still actively defaming them because my video is still public, so it's on them to do something about it. But again, aside from some beautiful bills, my mailbox remains empty. If you're wondering where I've been, there's a few reasons I haven't really been able to post much. I've had some personal things going on. I recently moved. I also got doxxed by a certain community of fans of a certain podcast, which I'll talk about in another video. But one of the things that I've been dealing with is preparing for the possibility of being sued. This was all new to me. I've never been sued and I've never sued anybody, so I had to spend some time and money learning about defamation law and talking to lawyers and free speech organizations. One thing I was definitely advised was to not post for a little while because, you know, anything said online would very likely be used against me in a potential lawsuit. Now, it is possible that these people might still sue me because rich people can do whatever they want, whenever they want, including sue whoever they want at any time for any reason. But it's worth noting that Ethan has also been a bit preoccupied in recent weeks, going beast mode in some live debates in front of hundreds of thousands of people.
What?
What? You don't know what I'm talking about?
What is?
What? Yeah, it was on the list. You're lying.
Yeah. I got a free Rolex hat from a friend of mine. I still wear it every now and then.
Yeah, and you're oh wow, who knew? All right, listen, it's 5 o'clock. Like I said, I have a family to go to. I have 3 kids and a wife, and I know that you have a fucking cool ass race car bed to sleep in, and I hope you enjoy that.
Okay, man. Thank you. Have a good one.
And dealing with another very real defamation lawsuit that he's currently losing to a former billionaire, which is a thing that's actually happening right now. He could be on the hook for a lot of money, which is crazy. So maybe he's just busy and going to get around to it eventually. Personally, though, I don't think they're going to follow through with these threats for a few reasons, but the biggest one is just that they don't have a case. I think it's pretty clear that this cease and desist was sent to me with one goal, which was intimidation. It was an attempt to silence my criticism of these creators' genocide, apologia, and participation in baseless smear campaigns against pro-Palestine creators and movements.
All he has to do to avoid getting sued is apologize for everything he said and did, admit he was either lying or ignorant, and erase the video, and also just disgrace, and just accept the disgrace that is basically lying about two people being pro-genocide, which is one of the most twisted, fucked up things you can accuse someone of.
This sort of thing often works because most people just don't have the resources to deal with a lawsuit. In my case, I don't have the resources either, but what I do have is you, an audience of people that have been very vocally supportive of the potential for contributing to a legal fund. I'll be honest though, I would prefer it if they didn't sue me. Not because I think they have a case, nor because I don't think we can raise the money. It's just that I don't feel comfortable fundraising for legal fees right now, given the many better places that money could go, like aid for the people being subjected to this ongoing genocide. Seeing as they haven't sued me yet, that's what we're gonna do. That's what this video is for. It's a fundraising video. I started a fundraiser for UNWRA, the United Nations Relief and Works Agency. The donation link is in the description. I'll also be hosting a fundraising live stream with some special guests and some gaming and hanging out and other things of the sort, which will start on Saturday, May 17th at 2 p.m. Pacific time and probably go for a few days. I don't usually stream, but I'm thinking of playing some games, maybe set up an air mattress and do a sleeping stream. I've seen that before. It looks fun. I've set the goal at $200,000 because that's what I was actually quoted as being a safe amount to fundraise in order to be able to afford a potential prolonged legal battle against Ethan and Mutahar, which is crazy, right? That's a lot of money, but I was also thinking we could show them that that's a figure we can achieve if we need to, and instead of it going to a lawyer for some bullshit YouTuber lawsuit, it would go to Gaza. If these guys actually do decide to sue me though, in terms of the actual lawsuit, again, I'm not too worried. I told the truth and said what I believed, and I'm prepared to defend it in court should it make it that far. If that does happen, I'll just do another fundraiser, I guess, and then we can donate whatever we don't use once the case gets dropped. It could be a little or it could be a lot. That all depends on how long these guys want to drag this out. I want to talk a bit more about the case, the cease and desist, and a few other things, but first we need to do a sponsor break. I gotta do sponsors because my videos get demonetized and I don't post that much. Support me on Patreon if you want to stop seeing them. Thank you to Delete Me for sponsoring this video. Delete Me is a data removal service that makes securing your online privacy simple, affordable, and effective. Your personal data is being sold online by data brokers. Anyone can buy them, which means you're potentially at risk of being harassed, doxxed, or attacked due to any publicly expressed political views, opinions, or even, your occupation. Delete Me offers comprehensive scanning across hundreds of data brokers, including emails, phone numbers, social media accounts, physical addresses, and more. The process is really simple. First, you'll fill out a search removal form. Then once you pay securely, Delete Me will begin the process immediately. You can also request custom removals by sending specific links and run online scans to self-select the data that you want removed. I've used and trust Delete Me because as an online public figure, it's obviously a helpful option to have, but I think those benefits also extend to anyone with any sort of online presence, which is most people. Take control of your digital footprint today and protect your personal data with Delete Me, your trusted partner in online privacy. Get 20% off Delete Me consumer plans when you go to joindeleteme.com/Samson and use my promo code Samson at checkout. All right, now let's get back to the video. Okay, so about that defamation case, it really seems like none of the people that are supporting or promoting this lawsuit have any clue what defamation actually is. So I want to go over that very briefly.
Calling somebody a supporter of a genocide is a very different thing than saying somebody's career is cooked or saying that somebody fell off or making a video about an internet drama. One of them is a real legitimate thing where people are bad. And the fact is that this is totally different than just a drama slop thing. This is completely different.
For someone to be found liable for defamation, there's a few bars that need to be reached. First, the plaintiff must establish that the allegedly defamatory claim is a statement of fact. Next, that statement of fact must be provably false. It also must have caused demonstrable damages to the plaintiff's finances or reputation. And lastly, the statement has to have been made with actual malice. Actual malice is a legal standard. It's the highest legal standard for defamation claims, and it's only applied to public figures. Basically, it means that the defamatory statements have to be proven to have been made with the existing knowledge that these statements were false. Now, the first hurdle of Ethan and Mutahar's lawsuit threat is establishing that claim 1, that they backed the genocide, evidenced by my video's title and thumbnail, is a provably false statement of fact. They immediately fail here, though, because it's not a statement of fact, it's an opinion. It's the conclusion of the arguments and evidence I presented in my video. In defamation cases, when distinguishing between opinion and fact, the broader context of where the statements were made must be considered. In the cease and desist, the lawyer they paid to write it for them chose to ignore this broader context, opting instead to single out one word in the video's title, the word backed, characterize that word using one definition from a single source, and then argue that that word, solely using the definition they've interpreted it to mean, is a statement of fact and also a false one. And not only that, but this falsehood is one that I lied about maliciously. When evaluating defamation claims, headlines are not typically treated as statements of fact when the articles themselves explain how this conclusion was reached. That's what my video was for. It was an hour long. I know for a fact that Ethan accused me of defaming him before he'd even watched it, based on the title and the thumbnail alone. If I had to guess, I would say that the decision to threaten a lawsuit came from this knee-jerk reaction to my video's title and thumbnail, and that knee-jerk reaction was never re-examined because it didn't need to be. Ethan has money and time and no one in his life that is willing to challenge him on something like this, especially not his lawyer who he is paying. So whatever he thinks and says is truth. So how do they go about trying to prove this claim of defamation? Well, it's pretty interesting. They actually go with the no, I didn't defense. They essentially claim, we couldn't have possibly supported a genocide because elsewhere we have said that we don't. We said that genocide is bad, so we are exempt from any criticism for any other things we may have said that do actually support a genocide. For this point, one of the quotes that they cite is Mutahar saying, "I'm not afraid to say that genocide is wrong." Wow, how brave of you, Mutahar. Aside from that being just false, Mutahar stayed silent on Gaza throughout the entirety of the genocide until it was time to join his friends on a Hassan Bad smear campaign. If that's not fear, I don't know what you'd call it other than, I guess, cowardice. But even if it were true, it wouldn't matter. Pointing to examples of lip service doesn't just cancel out other things you've said. Like if someone says that they killed someone and then later says that they didn't, it's not defamation to talk about the first statement without quoting the latter. I didn't think that defense would end up being used by an actual lawyer, but it did, and that's hilarious. Their lawyer is aware of that too, of how unserious this is, as evidenced by his total lack of citations for any case law in this section. This whole claim, the one that's supposed to be the most prominent one, is just blank, and that's because there is no legal precedent for the no I didn't defense. They're just completely going off vibes. The rest of the cease and desist is just sort of funny to read. A lot of it is them saying, "Your Honor, he clip chimped me." Your Honor, he literally didn't even watch the video. They spend like 3 pages attempting to debunk a Bad Empanada video essay because I cited it, which is just sort of awesome. It's been said plenty of times already, by Bad Empanada included, but you can't litigate a historical argument in civil court. That's not what civil court is for, and that's not what defamation is. There's one part in the letter where, in an attempt to evidence my malicious intent, their lawyer cites the disparity in the view counts of my videos, accusing me of the legal violation of clout farming. This statement demonstrates that you intended to not just have third parties spread defamatory statements about Ethan, but profit from those defamatory statements. You proved this point yourself when your video entitled "Manufacturing Consent for Genocide" failed to receive many views, particularly in comparison to the first defamatory video. You made the second defamatory video to further profit from your defamatory statements about Ethan. Your Honor, Noah fell off and tried to climb back to relevance by putting my client's name in his mouth. I encourage people to make videos about Ethan because I think the things he's saying are harmful. I think he's spreading pro-Israel propaganda talking points during Israel's active genocide of the Palestinian people in Gaza. And so far, that's been happening. People are making videos and more people are being exposed to the arguments against these ideas that I think are harmful. Their assumption here, though, that these videos could only have been made for nefarious, self-interested aims, that's just pure projection. I think. For these guys, everything is about views and internet fame. Everyone is cynical and self-interested, and no one actually believes the things that they say insofar as those beliefs are able to get eyes on their content. There's no way you could be criticizing someone based on any sort of genuine political motive. No, you must just be wanting to jump in on the dog pile, to cash in and grow an audience of snarkers that are there not because they're against genocidal propaganda, but simply because they don't like you. For no reason, even when you're being a perfect little angel.
They literally put fucking command centers under hospitals. There was more Jews displaced than Palestinians during the Nakba. 900,000 Jews were forced to choice, but because they were forced out. The vast majority went to fucking Arabs.
Maybe it's just because they're anti-Semitic. That's probably it. They're probably all anti-Semitic. Anyone that doesn't like me is anti-Semitic. Ethan, through his lawyer, ascribes all of that to me because that's who he is. But, you know, not everyone is like that. Some people just don't like it when you use genocidal talking points because they don't like genocide. And for them, that's a good enough reason on its own to make a YouTube video. What I also like about this one is that, you know, to argue that I'm self-interested, they cite a video I made knowing full well that it would get shadow banned and demonetized, which it did. If I just wanted views and money, I would not have made that video. To be frank, the reason I made that video was on a pretty simple basic principle, which is being against genocide. And that principle manifests itself in me wanting more people to know about how the media is normalizing this genocide. That same principle is why I made the videos about these guys. It just so happens that when YouTubers are in the thumbnail, more people click on the video. Ethan is aware of this phenomenon, obviously. He's used it for me and many others. It is unfortunate that more people care about what their favorite e-celebs have to say about each other than an active genocide, but that's the frame of reality we're working within on the internet. And I don't know, I think people are doing what they can to try to change that, or at least use it for positive goals, like getting more people to learn about the genocide. And to an extent, for some people, this seemed to work. You know, I got a lot of comments saying they hadn't heard about what's happening in Gaza or about how bad things actually were until that video was recommended to them. And for most people, the only reason it was recommended to them is because I framed it around what some guys on the internet think about it. That was what I'd hoped would happen. Believe me or don't, it doesn't matter. What matters is that factually, some people learned about the genocide and they wouldn't have learned about it if I hadn't used these creators as examples. And the same is true for creators like Bad Empanada or Overzealots or Chris Kunzler and more, and anyone else that wants to join in and use the algorithm for good. And they certainly wouldn't have learned about the genocide from any of these creators themselves, because despite their claims to caring about it,
I've been a stalwart supporter of the Palestinian cause for many years.
None of them ever talk about it at all, aside from when they're, you know, basically smearing its opponents and running cover for the country that's committing it.
They literally put fucking command centers under hospitals.
Outside of that, silence. As an aside, I think it's still open to debate as to whether or not this tactic is worth it. Like, is it worth the trade-off to get this information in front of more people when the conversation can so quickly turn from the issues and into creator drama? In this latest chapter, I don't think it was. Granted, I didn't really expect that these people would be petty enough or dumb enough to actually sue me or threaten to, but I probably should have, so that's on me. That debate, though, is open only to people that actually care about and talk about the genocide. Not you, or you, or you, or any of your freak show fan bases. As far as that first group of people goes, the people whose input I care about, they have been mostly supportive of these efforts. Do whatever you can to get the word out to as many people as possible. That's the feedback I've been getting, so that's what I've been trying to do. But again, that might not always be the case, and that is subject to change. Aside from the cease and desist being, you know, a joke, the other main reason I'm down to clown in court is because Ethan keeps proving my point over and over again. Like, every day that passes and every time he opens his mouth on his show, he continually proves that my allegedly defamatory claim that he is backing a genocide is actually very correct. In the very stream he was supposed to be disproving the assertion that he supports genocide, he brought out the most explicit IDF talking points he'd used to date.
I feel like this is a force that's going to help end the war, not fucking keeping hostages and underground and like sending, just continuing to provoke Israel to attack them and putting fucking like military complexes under hospitals. They literally put fucking command centers under hospitals.
The talking point he's using there, that Hamas builds command and control centers under hospitals, has been Israel's primary justification for the systematic destruction of Gaza's healthcare infrastructure for over 19 months now. That talking point is a justification for one of the key elements of Israel's approach to genocide. It's genocidal propaganda. There's no other way to put it. He is sharing genocidal propaganda to millions of people. A few episodes later, Ethan and his wife Hila downplayed Israel's mass-targeted assassinations of journalists by claiming that the IDF doesn't do that.
It's not like Israel that is worried. Look, it's not like Israel's going to do a precision strike on Hassan. They don't fucking. Yeah, but it is dangerous. It's a war zone. Like, I agree, it's dangerous.
Sure, it's a war zone. I don't think you guys understand Israel. It doesn't work like that.
They're not.
Yes, they do. They do that more than anyone ever, actually. It's the last possible group of people on Earth that you could claim doesn't intentionally target journalists. This is just pure misinformation that is used to run cover for Israel as it commits a genocide, a major factor of which is limiting people's exposure to the atrocities they are committing. And the most direct way they can do that is by assassinating journalists over and over and over and over again. A couple weeks ago, in a debate with Sam Cedar, Ethan continued to expose himself as a propagandist for Israel's genocide. He repeatedly blamed Palestinian resistance for Israel's genocidal actions in Gaza.
They could have done that. They could have ended it after a week.
I mean, Hamas could have ended the war anytime too.
How could have Hamas ended the war?
By releasing the hostages?
No, listen. Israel has said time and time again that the release of the hostages is not going to end their assault on Gaza. They have said this over
I don't believe
and
that's
over and over.
I haven't seen those statements. I've seen the opposite.
At any time, they could have done that.
Well, what has Hamas done to end the war?
Hamas offered
what have they done to end the war?
Early dawn to say Hamas offered all the hostages in agreement in response to Israel not coming into Gaza. I mean, there's just to defend Israel's actions.
That didn't happen either.
Being inevitable.
What I'm getting to is Hamas, I think they knew that this was the reaction that would happen.
By this logic, there is nothing Israel could do that can't be blamed on Hamas, which is a genocidal logic because they're committing genocide and doing exactly what he is doing here, blaming Hamas. This is the logic employed by the IDF and the Israeli state and its propagandists, and this sort of thing is what makes Ethan one of them. In this debate, Ethan also repeatedly conflates anti-Zionism with anti-Semitism, which Sam Cedar deconstructs pretty effectively, in my opinion.
This will never happen, but in a totally just world, regardless of your background, any kind of fucking Zionist tendency should be treated in the same way as being a fucking rabid neo-Nazi. And you shouldn't even let someone be the fucking local dog catcher as Felix was posting if they've ever exhibited any sort of positive feelings about the state of Israel. I'm so serious about this.
Now, to me, that seems like extremely dangerous, dehumanizing language about what could arguably be 70% of the Jewish diaspora, and certainly probably people you know in your family.
You go in and you're making this about anti-Semitism by doing this hopscotch about a poll that people had positive feelings that Jewish people do, and then therefore he is anti-Semitic. And honestly, that type of conflation, I think, is so dangerous and so disingenuous. I have had a guy who went to my bar mitzvah, my sister's bar mitzvah, my kid's bar mitzvah, sat at Passover with me 3 or 4 times, call my father and ask him if I'm anti-Semitic. That is just an example, an illustration of conflating what he's clearly talking about Zionism. Was it hyperbole to say any time in life, whatever? The fact of the matter is this conflation is dangerous for Jews. It is a fig leaf and a way of weaponizing anti-Semitism that has enabled Donald Trump to do the shit he's doing, that has enabled the slaughter of thousands upon thousands of children and women and men, for that matter. It is not keeping Israelis safe. And this type of conflation, Ethan, is what I find far more irresponsible, frankly, than the idea that he said positive any time.
Not only is this another textbook defense used by the genocidal state of Israel, but what he's saying here is also anti-Semitic. He's using this poll to speak for all Jews.
Now, to me, that seems like extremely dangerous, dehumanizing language about what could arguably be 70% of the Jewish diaspora.
Lots of Jewish people think this thing, therefore criticizing that thing is anti-Semitic. Hey man, no, it's not. The criticism is not about their Jewishness, it's about Israel. The only one here making it about their Jewishness is you. In the same conversation, Ethan blamed Palestinians for Israel's mass killing of peaceful Palestinian protesters with sniper fire during the Great March of Return in 2018.
They were marching in the Great March of Return week after week after week.
Sam, was there Hamas activity at the Great March?
Sinwar was marching. Sinwar was marching with them.
Were people attacking the border wall?
During the Great March of Return, the first dozens of these things before the snipers? No, they weren't. So there were the people for peace.
There was Hamas activity. They were attacking the fence. They were like trying to cross the border.
They were
but not
attacking
militants. Militants were trying to cross the border.
We know where he got this talking point from, his friend Destiny, and we've seen him use that before a bunch of times.
Overwhelmingly peaceful. Just as a quick thing, because people love to talk about the Great March of Return, the Peaceful March of Return. All of this is like the Peaceful Great March of Return. Remember this, okay? This is all the Peaceful Great March of Return.
And we've gone over this before, but the human rights reports were very clear on what happened in 2018. Thousands of people were shot by IDF snipers, hundreds of them killed, while standing hundreds of meters from the fence. It's actually pretty insane that this talking point is still being used. Like, it's disgusting. Men, women, children, medics, aid workers, and disabled people were shot and killed. If your retort to this fact is, well, there was separate instances of violence at the border.
They were attacking the fence. They were like trying to cross the border.
Whether you want to admit it or not, you are doing genocide propaganda. You are offering a moral justification for this violence. There are plenty more instances of this sort of thing in Ethan's debate with Hassan, which I could go over, but I feel like you get the point by now. If Ethan is really going to go through with his I don't support genocide lawsuit, he should probably stop using talking points that support genocide. These guys know that what they're doing here is wrong. In his announcement tweet a couple months back, Mutahar said, "I never want to financially harm or bring a lawsuit to a creator, but slander like this is far too extreme and unchecked. So at this time, we are exploring legal actions, blah, 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 blah. I never want to do this thing that I know is wrong and predatory, but I'm going to do it anyway because I have no principles and you hurt my feelings." Defamation is not saying extreme things. That's not what defamation is, and it shouldn't take thousands of dollars and months, potentially years of our time to get these guys to understand that. It might, though, because they're rich, which is amazing. It's a beautiful system that we have, but I hope it doesn't. And then recall what Ethan said 8 years ago when he spoke about his experience of being sued by a more wealthy YouTuber.
It's unbelievable. It's criminal. The American justice system is just, it's how can you defend yourself? Like, you guys gave us $150,000 to fight this lawsuit. It's not enough. It's not even enough. And I'm just wondering, if we didn't have the backing and support of all you guys and the means to even throw $50,000 of our own money to defend this case, how would we ever stand up to this? It's like those with money in the legal system have the ability to destroy and bully and just defeat people on the grounds of I have more money. And you never would have a chance of defending yourself. It's obscene. It's not a threat. I'm going to sue you.
Ethan now constantly threatens lawsuits over creators he doesn't like and creators that say things that are mean about him.
When I'm done with Noah, when I'm done with the other one, the big one that's dropping probably next week, my full attention is going to you, George. Like the Eye of Sauron. I see you. I see you out there, you fucking cockroach. You're full of shit, bro. You're not going to do shit. And I'll tell you who's going to do shit. Me. I'm coming, okay? So you're not safe either. Just wait. Keep talking that shit.
He has become the villain, and if he goes through with this and somehow manages to succeed, he retains Alan Dershowitz, we get Richard Goldstone on the bench in a Zionist kangaroo court, that would set a pretty bad precedent, I think. If you disagree with someone's opinions about you, you should respond to it yourself, like an adult, in the court of public opinion, not pay a lawyer thousands of dollars to respond for you in a pre-written email, video essay. It's pretty clear that he's done most of this stuff to make money and for content, which is kind of funny because defamation's supposed to be the other way around. Like, he's made tens, maybe hundreds of thousands of dollars off of my alleged defamation. I don't know how that factors into proving damages, making a bunch of money, more money than you would have made without it. I don't know, but I guess we'll find out, maybe. I would close with some point about right-wing free speech hypocrisy, because a lot of these people supported this lawsuit despite claiming to want free speech.
I do think people that make up bullshit like this probably do need to have a degree of accountability, especially if they're saying and making claims like that you're a supporter of a genocide. I think this is a very extreme claim to make. It's not like you just say this out of the blue, right? And because of that, I do think that there should be some degree of accountability for it.
But it's not even worth it. This is the most predictable thing that has ever happened on Earth. The Zionist and right-wing lip service about free speech is not an actual principle. Of course it's not. It's a tool. Sometimes that tool is a shield to defend their right to be racist loudly online.
I'm not going to cry a fucking river when people who have genocide that's baked into their laws are getting genocided. I don't give a fuck. They're terrible people.
And sometimes it's a sword to attack people who criticize them for doing that.
It's not a threat. I'm going to sue you.
None of these people actually care about any of these issues. Their support for a cause is entirely dictated by whether or not they like the people that are supporting that cause, whether or not they have some sort of content creator based relationship. But that also means we, myself included, need to stop treating it as if it's anything other than that, with the exception being using these morons to educate people. I think that's good. I think people should keep doing that. All right, so anyways, that's all I have to say about the lawsuit stuff. Ethan and Mutahar, if you are not suing me, that's great. I would prefer that, so I don't have to fundraise for legal fees during a genocide. If you are actually going to sue me, though, please just let me know. I'll fundraise again. You will probably lose the anti-slap motion and have to pay my legal fees, and will just be wasting a bunch of time and money, which in the grand scheme of things is not that big of a deal. I'll be fine, but that will be annoying. So let me know, please. Viewers, if you can, donate to the Gaza Aid fundraiser. I think we can raise a lot of money. I'll be going live starting Saturday, May 17th at 2 p.m. Pacific time and streaming for a few days and do some guests and other stuff. So stay tuned for the specifics about the times. And sorry for the slop. Sorry, this is a little messy. I'm getting back in the swing of things. It's been a while since I've even sat down to write anything. So coming soon will be more stuff that's actually good.